Today, we're talking about Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. You make me choose between these two guys. Why? It's one of those fucking fights where you really don't know what's going to happen. I feel like you could say that about every single fight that happens in the lightweight division because you never know what to expect. And Charles Oliveira, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's one of my favorites. Let's just start with that. Charles Oliveira is one of my favorite fighters that I think I've ever seen. Once I saw him doing the submissions the way he did them, and then looking more into his past fights, when he went up against Justin Gaethje, I thought that Justin Gaethje was going to beat him, to be honest with you. I really did. I thought that it was going to be Justin Gaethje's fight, but I guess not. Charles Oliveira is very tricky. That fool will catch you by surprise. If you go down to the floor, he's going to chase you down there and try to finish you off. But Beneil Dariush, man. That guy's a fucking powerhouse. Yeah, and he's looking great. He's been looking great for the past, I don't even know how many fights. Who was his last fight? Beneil's last fight was against Gamrot. And Gamrot put up a tough fight. Didn't he almost knock his ass out? Shit. Oh! And one thing that I see from Beneil Dariush getting back into the octagon is a massive threat for Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira got dropped by Islam Makhachev with that beautiful 1-2 counter. There's wow. I think we should take that into consideration first. Charles Oliveira's last fight was against the champion, against Islam Makhachev, who just won also against Alexander Volkanovski, who was the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. Now, that whole fight is debatable. It was very controversial. It was really close. You could have given it to either fighter, to be honest with you. I honestly think that I can see both ways. I can see how you can give it to Alexander Volkanovski, but I can also see how you can give it to Islam Makhachev just because of the control and not letting him move. And then somebody else can say that, oh, he was hugging him, whatever. But when we talk about the fight of Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev, yeah, I don't know. It looked like Charles wasn't ready for a fight that day. He got dropped and he thought that he was going to be in his own world once he was on his back on the floor. But Islam welcomed that. For me, I think Charles Oliveira is going to need to fight this fight, or else he's just going to get finished. I don't think there's any backing down from Beneil Dariush, because Beneil Dariush is going to be putting that pressure on you the entire time. And when you least expect it, he's coming in with a hook that you don't even see. It's the most nonchalant shit that I've ever seen. He just throws it. It doesn't even make an action to throw it. He just fucking throws it. We saw him get Gamrot with it. It hurts. When you get hit like that, and we've seen Charles Oliveira get hit so many fucking times, that fool falls every single time and wins somehow. I don't know. I feel like people are learning his trick. People are learning how to beat Charles Oliveira. Justin Gaethje honestly could have beat Charles Oliveira, I would say. He was just afraid to go to the floor. I think that was in his head the entire time. Avoid the floor, avoid the floor, avoid the floor. But sometimes you do gotta welcome the floor, you know? When you need to be on the floor, you need to be able to either get the fuck up or handle it and be there for as long as possible and survive. And to be honest, I feel like Beneil Dariush is ready for that. I feel like Beneil's been waiting a long time for this opportunity to get closer towards the belt. And Charles Oliveira is just one of those guys that's going to be right in the way from him getting to the top. Finally, after so long of him asking for the title shot, you know, I feel like after this, he should be next in the title shot. I don't know who else would go up there. People would say maybe Justin Gaethje or the winner of the BMF belt of Dustin Poirier or Justin Gaethje, because it's basically going to be their last shot at the belt. Or Beneil Dariush. I feel like it should be Beneil Dariush first if he wins against Charles Oliveira. If Beneil Dariush wins against Charles Oliveira, I feel like Beneil Dariush should be going next for the championship against Islam Makhachev. If Charles wins, I say run it back against Islam. Or that's a hard one for Charles, because he did lose. He lost against Islam. I didn't see him winning. Again, Charles is one of my favorite fighters, so don't think that I'm bashing him at any moment. No, Charles is one. I showed my little sister how to do a freaking guillotine choke, and I used Charles Oliveira's submission video clip as a reference for her. That's how much of a Charles Oliveira fan I am. When I show people videos of UFC, I show them literally Charles Oliveira. I'm like, look, this is one of my favorite fighters. I love it because of his jiu-jitsu and of his grappling. Look at this. And they usually love what they see. It's impossible to hate Charles Oliveira, to be honest with you. He's freaking illuminated by the grace of God. That's what he said. Dude, this is a hard one. This is a really hard one. Who am I rooting for? Who am I rooting for? fuck. I don't know. It's gonna be one of those fights. One interesting that I heard, my manager from Best Buy, Mauricio, he told me, he said, and it really stuck with me. He said, it depends on which Charles we get that night. And I was like, yup, that was perfectly said, honestly. It depends on what Charles we get that night. The Charles that we need that night at UFC 289 is the one who's not going to back down at all from the fight. He needs to be in front of his opponent. He needs to be taking him down. He needs to be looking for those opportunities and taking advantage of every opportunity that he gets. Because if Dariush is going to be right in front of him, he's not going down anytime soon. I don't see it. Unless like it's some flying knee that just comes up out of nowhere. Comment down below, who do you guys think is going to win this fight? Charles Oliveira or Beneil Dariush? I mean, I've been a longer fan of Charles Oliveira, so I'm probably going to go with Charles. Charles just fucking dope. I'm a huge fan, but I have been looking more into Beneil Dariush very recently in these past months, and I love what I see from Beneil. I see all the talent. I see great combos. I see great power coming from his punches, and he mixes it up very well. I like to think about him as very loose. Almost, I wouldn't say a zombie, because zombies are just like a little bit wild, but it's more like, I wouldn't say sloth. Is it a sloth? I wouldn't say sloth. It's just more relaxed, more focused. I don't know how to. I hope you guys understand kind of what I'm trying to say, but it, it's just more closed and just loose, fluid water. That's what I've been feeling from Beneil Dariush from what I've been seeing in his past fights. Yeah, I don't know. I can't make a prediction. Who do you guys think is going to win? Comment down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Fuck it. I'm going Charles Oliveira. Illuminated by the grace of God. I don't fucking care. Beneil, I love you so much, man. You're a great fighter. I love watching all of your fights, but I'm going Charles Oliveira. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I don't know. I don't make the rules up. I'm going Charles. Fuck. I'm gonna go Charles. I'll catch you guys all in the next video.